It's Salah. And Salah will try one, and it's comfortably within the reach of Onana. Salah. Gakpo. Salah. It's Alexander-Arnold. Nunez.
And with that, I threw up in my mouth. That was the right there. I threw up in my mouth with that one. Onana didn't even move, Jay. He didn't even move. He could have shot it right at him, and it was a goal. Welcome. This is an Adam Gold show, festive fixtures special. That's Jay
Here we
Kumar.
go.
I am Adam Gold. Sorry. I thought I was over it. I'm not really over it, but that's okay. In the grand scheme of things, 1 point off the top as we're headed to Christmas. If you told me that before the season started, I would have accepted it. And I think basically Liverpool are exactly where they belong. Right there, near the top, with a chance, and I'll take it. This is our 30 minutes or whatever of football talk, real football talk, football with the feet. All right, are we going to start with what happened or didn't happen at Anfield?
I mean, I don't know where else you would. It seems like the perfect place to start. I think.
Can we just agree it was a terrible football game?
No, I mean, I was happy with the result.
Well, no. I'm talking about the game.
You know what? It was an interesting game. I found it as a neutral, objectively, like I found it a fascinating game in watching the two teams play. I think Liverpool, top to bottom, every phase, midfield, attack, defense, goalie, they're better than United. But when it came to having the clinical edge in the final third, we've talked about this with Arsenal. We've talked about this with City. We've talked about this, with Chelsea. You can do everything you want to up to the box, but that final third, if you're not sharp enough and if you don't take your chances in the Premier League, it will cost you. And I am a firm believer that draws hurt title contenders more than losses. And that's a big draw that will hurt Liverpool. The 1 point between a win or a draw really, really won't matter in the grand scheme of things at the end. Maybe it will, but honestly, make it up with a win and you're fine. Over 5 matches, if you have 5 draws or you have 2 wins and 3 losses, the 2 wins and 3 losses gets you more points. So that's kind of how I think about it. And so, for Liverpool, it's a pretty awful result. And for United, it's a pretty great result. And that tells you more than anything how far apart the two sides are now.
Well, I don't think it's a great result for United. The 1 point,
I think so. They've given up 11 goals at Anfield to not concede.
No. I'm not talking about history. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what it doesn't really do anything for them. It gives them a point, which in the grand scheme of things isn't going to be the difference between Europe and not Europe. They'll either be in or they won't be at that point. So I don't think the draw does anything for them. I'll just go back to last year when Arsenal and Liverpool drew at the end of the year, toward the end of the year. Like, I was rooting for Arsenal to go to be on top. And that was a draw that was damaging to Arsenal. I would have rather lost the match.
Arsenal. For sure. I think the difference, though, is that Liverpool and United are in different places in the table, in different places completely. 100%. And so it was more important for United to not get blown out and stay on the pitch and get a result, even if it's a 0-0 draw, than it was for them to try to go win the game and lose 4-0.
And they didn't try to win the game.
They didn't try to, but if they hunkered back, if they hunkered in and still got pummeled, which they did, but then conceded 4 or 5 and got blown out. I do think psychologically getting out of there with a point does wonders for United moving forward and probably preserves Ten Hag for a few more weeks. I had predicted this was going to be a game he was going to be out, but I've actually, it's a matter of if it's a matter of when, not if at this point. I think they're waiting for the Ineos money, and then they'll make that move because I think culturally he has proven not a good fit for that club.
Oh, I agree with that. I don't think it'll happen until after the year.
Captaining McTominay was a joke. I'm sorry. Like, he might have been a good player for them lately, but he is not a United captain, and that's kind of indicative of how far that club has fallen. And then
who was
forced to put
their other
Varane
option?
in.
I mean, you could have captained Luke Shaw.
Yeah. I mean, and Luke Shaw has worn the armband before. But then being forced to bring Varane in, and then Varane winning man of the match, just goes to show you that he doesn't have that locker room, and that was a forced change on him, and it resulted in him getting a point. We'll see what happens at West Ham. Does Varane keep his place when Maguire is fit again? But it just seems as though that ship has run its course.
They don't have any other options in midfield. You can only get away with playing Johnny Evans so much.
You mean at center back?
Yeah, at center back. Because I mean, they've been using Shaw as another center back, but Shaw needs to be in his right, the spot that he needs to play, which is left back. So they don't have any options. I mean, couldn't believe they went into the City game with Maguire and Evans at center back. That was a recipe.
Well, they had Varane, and that was the mistake, is that he should have been playing in that game. And
you can get away with. He was ill. I think he was ill. I think
that was
they were
maybe. I don't.
Maybe that was a joke. Maybe that was smokescreen. Real quick about the match. I thought it was two separate halves. I thought both teams were trash in the first half. Liverpool had the ball the entire first half, and their touches were like challenge team bad. I haven't seen Szoboszlai play that poorly on the ball all year. He hadn't been playing great the last few weeks, but he bottomed out. I thought. I really thought that Klopp was going to take him off at halftime. And I thought it was telling, because Szoboszlai usually plays the entire match. Yeah, I thought it was telling that he took him off in the 65th minute or so. And their changes were kind of random for me. I didn't think they would take strikers off when they needed a goal. I didn't think they would take Nunez and Diaz off when they needed a goal. But Szoboszlai was bad. Gravenberch was Endo is what he is, and Endo did, for what he was asked to do, I thought, a pretty good job. I don't, especially with United not really threatening anything.
He was
Endo's
fine.
just
I think
the
Liverpool midfield is worth talking about, and I think that's where the game ultimately was lost.
That's where they
Liverpool.
lost it. Yeah,
and that's exactly where the game was lost. Szoboszlai, he has dipped of late.
He has, but he was bad. This wasn't a dip. This was he fell into a canyon.
He's been trending this way. I think the big thing about players that come to England for the first time is they get off to a hot start. This is the time of year where Germany's on break.
Right.
They're done. Italy's on break. Spain's on break. But you're playing. And that first season of playing a lot through the winter break, that is where you'll see that fatigue. That's where you'll see that drop off, because players who aren't used to it have really hard time coping with it. And so I think that's going to be something to watch for folks who have integral players that have come in from other leagues starting, Szoboszlai being one. Gravenberch, you noticed, I saw the report, he should be back, but it was a fatigue-related injury, not a hamstring pull, which means precautionary, which is great, but also
he also didn't play for Bayern last year. He barely saw the field.
Yeah, this is a lot of football for him, and I think it's going to take some time to get in there.
Question.
And Endo's fine, but he is not a title-challenging holding midfielder.
He's a squad player.
And I think that
but they're better with McAllister. They are much better with McAllister.
They are much better with McAllister. No doubt about it. McAllister's a better player, but he's not a 6.
No, but he can handle it based on the way they play.
If I was,
there was no progression.
Yeah, and so I think it'll be interesting what they do against Arsenal. Endo, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're rooting for him to start. Having to have him match Rice power and drive in the midfield, or keep up with Odegaard running through that channel, that's going to be a really, really tough ask for him. That said, on the flip side, Zinchenko with no Tomiyasu needing to keep up with Salah is a mismatch. And so
Mo
all of
hasn't
those
played well
different
either.
points, those different points, that game, and Luis Diaz has been poor. I think Nunez gets a lot of the shtick, but Diaz has been worse. Now, obviously, he's had some personal challenges and things that I think do affect his play. And I think over time, he'll hopefully regain his confidence and form. But I think that was a result that for Liverpool was in the making. And the last few weeks, you saw the cracks. You saw they escaped Fulham. They escaped a couple of these other matches, Palace, and they kind of caught up to them against United. And
no, they hadn't been
we'll
playing
see what
well.
happens.
They've been winning.
Yeah,
they've been winning matches. They just hadn't been playing well.
Which is what you need to do to win a title. Is you got to win when you don't play great. But
yeah, that's what Klopp said after the Palace match. But they hadn't been playing well.
You've got to start playing great at some point.
And I didn't even the Fulham game because all 4 goals were like long distance strikes, and that's not going to. I mean, again, I know you and I disagree.
Law of averages, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just not. That's a low percentage shot. Yeah. You and I disagree. I still think their best scoring chance was that Trent shot from, I don't know, it was probably 20, 25 yards because Onana was not moving and Trent had more than half the goal because Onana
it was a great attempt. I think it was a good shot. He put it wide, and my whole thing is if you put it wide, it can't be great. If the goalie doesn't even have to make a save, Onana didn't have to move. And so the best chance, it was a great chance. Their best chance, I still think, was that early chance from Virgil, point blank header reaction save from Onana, who was very good in this game. And
that was the only time he had to make a save.
Yeah, well, he had 8 saves, but not all of them were of the same quality.
They hit him with the ball. They hit him with the ball. He had one dive, but he didn't even need to dive. He could have ran onto it. Liverpool had 34 shots. More than half. It
was a domination. It was
but
very
more than half
similar
their shots were from outside the 18.
Yeah,
it was
no different than if Højlund or Garnacho finish their chances, then all of a sudden, it's no different than the Villa game, where you had one chance, and then from a team that was dominated in possession and on attack, and you have to have that cutting edge in the final third. That said, more often than not, you play that game 9 times out of 10, Liverpool win pretty comfortably. This just happened to be the one where the ball didn't go in the net.
Yeah, maybe they're saving it for Saturday, or maybe they're saving it for today against West Ham, which I'm having a hard time getting up for.
Do they play anybody of significance?
I mean, it's a quarterfinal EFL Cup match. I don't think they're going to not try. So, right. I mean, again, I don't know how they're going to handle it. I'd like to say he's going to play. They don't have enough bodies to not play. Believe it or not, they are. Last year they were decimated by injuries, and we're kind of teetering on the edge of that right now. I don't think he's going to play Gravenberch because he wants him for Arsenal. Szoboszlai will probably play. He has no McAllister. Jones and Elliott are healthy. Jones is coming back from an injury. I don't think you want to wear these guys out. Ben Doak, who I think would probably otherwise at least get an option, having surgery. They want to keep their center backs healthy with the injury to Joel Matip. Which the funny thing is that he was having kind of a little bit of a renaissance, a quiet renaissance.
He was having a great season. Yeah.
And they were already talking about, well, maybe we'll give him another, extend his contract by a year. Now he's out for the year. They have only 4 center backs. One of them is Joe Gomez, who they really like to use as an outside back to move Trent up. So I don't know how they're going to handle it. But if they play, I kind of think Klopp's going to try and win it. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, why not? Trophies are why you play football. Have fun with it. I think it's always important to win.
Whether it's important or not, I think Klopp is. I think he's consistent with these things. The dead rubber match against Saint-Gilloise, notwithstanding, he treats these as, oh, there's an available trophy. Let's go get it. So I think he's going to try and win the match. Would I like to see him rest everybody and have a bunch of teenagers on the field? Yeah. I think Jarrell Kwanzaa is going to start at center back? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, and I think he'll probably play him with, I don't even know if I'd play Konate. I think I'd play Virgil, because Virgil is more, more likely to come out of it without an injury. Every time Konate steps on the field, he can get hurt. So I'm a little concerned with all those things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, no different, kind of shifting gears to the other match of the weekend, and then we'll talk about City. No different than Arsenal in the back. Right now, they're staying fit. Knock on wood. Saliba, Gabriel, probably the best center back partnership in the league right now. And yet behind them, there's very little. You have Zinchenko, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and then beyond them it's Kivior. That's it.
Kivior.
That's the only defensive sub we have. Tomiyasu hurt, Timber hurt, and even with Tomiyasu and Timber, we're one short. You want 8. You want 8 defenders ideally in your squad, and so I think that will be the priority in January for Arsenal is getting a rotational defender in, which is kind of crazy to think about. With all of it, is it's probably going to be a rotational defender and a midfielder, because if Smith Rowe has come back, he looked really sharp in his cameo against Brighton. Could have scored, probably should have scored, but showed some nice burst and pace, and that was a game that gave me, I think, a lot of confidence in Arsenal and their ability to kind of sustain this title threat. Brighton are not a bad squad. They've had a tough run of form, but nobody holds Brighton shotless. 16 shots to 0 in the first half. First time in 32 games that Brighton has failed to score. Only 2 shots on the whole match. Just an, I think, impressive out of possession performance that allows them to. So the difference, we'll kind of talk a little bit about the juxtaposition Liverpool, Arsenal at the top of the table. Arsenal, out of possession, allow oppositions to create nearly nothing. They are kind of by far head and shoulders above the defensive class of the league, which can mask or create the space where if they aren't perfectly firing like they were in the first half, there's no threat coming the other way, so they can keep going and hopefully get one. Liverpool are the other way. If Arsenal are given the counter opportunities that United were given, they will not sit back and not take them in the way United just hoofed the ball away. They will play it out and take that space. And so for Liverpool, they're the opposite. They're going to give up chances, but their attack is so good that they're going to score ideally enough that they will be able to weather that and get the goals needed to win the game or stay in a match. And at any point, they're good for 4 goals a game. No one's going to doubt that. And so that is going to be an interesting.
I'll believe that when
dynamic.
I see it.
I mean, they've done that repeatedly. You saw that, just at the Fulham game, they just kept scoring, and it'll be really interesting to see how that game on the weekend plays out, because Havertz seems to be rounding into form. He's got 4 goals in his last 6, and has been a immense duel winner, both aerially and on the ground, being able to contribute to the build-up. Odegaard's taken a slightly deeper position to create more possession in the midfield, and Rice is, he might be player of the season in the Premier League right now.
He's been amazing.
He has been. It seems almost as we underpaid for him at 100 million, which is crazy to think of.
Less than Moises Caicedo, just so you know. Less than Moises Caicedo.
Yep,
it's amazing.
And Endo Fernandez.
I know.
Enzo, sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that Arsenal.
You combined him and Endo. You combined. Very nice. I think it's a compliment, though, to Wataru.
Yeah, but so we'll see. I think it's going to be. I think the match on Saturday is going to be fascinating, and I think it's 2 contrasting styles where and strength versus strength, attack versus defense. The question is, I think Arsenal's attack while it being its lesser unit, is slightly better than Liverpool's defense. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how they step up. But Allison is a great equalizer.
Yeah, he had to make one save. The save on Højlund was the only save he had to make. Actually, Trent made a really good play on the Garnacho.
On the Garnacho one.
I mean, he got a toe on it and knocked it away. I thought Trent played a great game.
He played well.
With the lack of finish notwithstanding, I thought Trent was really good, but he also wasn't really pushed. Garnacho could not affect him. I thought the only way United was going to make anything happen was Ante to whatever extent he can, creating down the right and Garnacho down the left, and they really never did that. But I also think that they didn't really try a lot. So
no, they didn't. They were comfortable with the 0-0.
I have not liked the way Liverpool has played really the last 4 or 5 matches. They'll have to be much more creative and assertive and ruthless when they get their opportunities. They just pissed away so many chances in the first half. First half I thought was worse. Second half I thought both teams played better. I thought United was better in the second half than they were in the first half. United was just giving the ball away left and right in the first half. That's why it was so disappointing.
For sure. And I think United have a player in Kobe Mainu. Kid is going to be real good. He's 19. Yep. He might be their best midfielder already.
Will Ten Hag ruin him?
I think you just got to put him on the pitch, man. Let him play in a double pivot with Amrabat and then put Fernandez in front of him and let him cook. Like, I think that
Amrabat's
kid is good.
terrible. Let's go to City. You have a theory? Because I have 2 theories, but
one, they never beat Palace at home. Like, I mean, Palace in the last 6 have 4 draws and 2 wins.
That's weird, but
it's a bogey team.
It isn't just about this one.
Yeah, I think that and they could have scored 5 or 6 when they were up 2-0. They dominated that game and then just didn't. I think if I'm City, I think if I'm Arsenal or Liverpool, I'm worried because while City are not playing well, they're 4 points back. That is not that bad. That is not that far away.
No, it's not.
And I think that getting De Bruyne back will unlock a lot for them. And
until his next injury,
they're being very cautious with him because I think as long as they stay within touching distance, they'll give him the time he needs. So, but yeah, I mean, they're drawing against, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham, and now Palace. The draws are what kill you. I think that's going to be tough.
How long has it been since a win?
Like 5, 4 or 5 matches. So 5 of their last 6 they've lost, or they've dropped points. But I think they're a little bored.
I don't think they're bored. I don't think they're as good this year. I said at the beginning of the year. Remember, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
I thought they got away with about as easy of first 8 matches as you could possibly have. Their difficult matches were home. Their easy matches were away. And they were not playing that well. The Sheffield game where they were trying to win it 1-0 and then Sheffield equalized and then it was Rodri in stoppage time that brought them ahead 2-1. They were no good in that game. And they absolutely missed Gundogan and they missed Mahrez. They didn't replace them. No offense to Mateo Kovacic. He ain't Gundogan. The gap between Gundogan and Kovacic, you could build a freaking national park in. It's ridiculous how good the players are that they allowed to go, and I get it. You allow players to go. Grealish has been hurt. He's just now coming in, but those 2 guys added so much. They have asked so much of Bernardo Silva. Rodri, when he has missed too many games, I don't think Ruben Diaz has had the kind of year that Diaz you would have expected him to have.
No,
I think that they're off. They're good. They're really good, and they could win the league. But it's going to be. I think that they're about an 85, 86 point team. And
right now, I think that's the pace they're on, and so that's still a really, really good team. I think what's interesting is you're 100% right on the start of the season. The funny part is they're playing really well right now. Like they dominated that City match. Their underlying metrics against Tottenham, they should have won that game 5-0, like 5-2. I mean, they completely have been like in these last 5 or 6 matches where they're not getting the results. It's kind of water finding its level. It's making up for them not playing well and getting results in the first part of the season. They're playing well and not getting results right now. So it's been interesting. I think a lot of it is, what you said in terms of the replacement players they brought in aren't as good as the players they let leave. But they're also missing the best midfielder in the league, and that matters. And if
they don't have Odegaard or Declan Rice, sorry.
Well, Kevin De Bruyne is that guy. He won them the treble. He was everyone's going to point to Haaland, but if you look at it was De
Bruyne makes Haaland.
De Bruyne made it all happen, and it's no different where Liverpool lost Van Dijk, they had a drop off. Arsenal lost Saliba, they had a drop off. If Arsenal were to lose Rice this year, we'd have a drop off. These players, these teams, we just assume that you can plug and play a replacement and Pep's going to find a way. But at the end of the day, talent wins. And when you take the most talented player off of a team, they will not be as good. De Bruyne on this team this year, they're probably top of the league. Because they're only 4 points back. That's how good he is worth. At least one more draw and 1 win. 4 points. They have better goal differential.
I don't disagree with that. But
league. So I think it's as simple. I think it's not as complicated as we want to make it out to be. I think 1, they're a little bit bored, and 2, I think that losing De Bruyne is a significant loss and should not be understated in the performance of City this year.
By the way, what a break, Copenhagen. Really? Come on. Come on.
City. They always get that, man.
Are you serious? Yeah. Oh, come on. That's just Arsenal didn't get
we got Porto. So it's not it should be doable. The more frustrating part is we got drawn into the second week of games on the 12th and the 21st. So our midweek Champions League match is before the Newcastle game and before the Chelsea game instead of before the Burnley game and the Brentford game. If we were on the first week. So,
bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer. All right. So what else do we have to do? Should we first of all, I'm gonna reiterate something we talked about last week, and then we'll pick a few games. I believe Villa are legit contenders. I know they have squad depth issues. They'll deal with that. Maybe they'll add something in January. I don't know. They certainly won't be selling Kamara tough red at the end of the game for him because he misses the next match. They will miss? Well, it's only Sheffield. Never mind. Yeah. And it's at home. And they won't be selling Douglas Luiz either. But I think they're legit. And again, I think that we're in the 85-point range for a winner this year. And I think that brings them in it. By the way that United and Newcastle played in the Champions League means that we're probably only looking at 4 Premier League teams for next year's Champions League. I think we're going to get 5 from Serie A. And maybe definitely. Even from La Liga.
I think La Liga and England will fight it out. I think we'll see Sociedad have a tough draw. We'll see how many advance pass this round. I think there's enough chances in Europe for both of those to gather enough points to get that 5th spot. I think England, it's kind of silly that they don't already have that just because the depth of the league. But
I know, but it's based on what you do in Europe, right? So not even getting to the Europa playoff.
Right.
Ends up being bad.
It hurts.
All right, which games
it hurts.
Yeah, it absolutely does hurt. Which games are we picking?
Let's start with Tottenham Everton. I don't know if we're going to do all of them, but I think
I love this game so much.
There are 3 good games this week. And I think we can pick all 3 of them. So, yeah, what do you think?
I think Everton is playing as well as anybody in this league. And although Tottenham is starting to get a little healthier, they don't have Maddison back, who is as important to them as almost any player is to their team. Because I think he creates so much for them. I like Everton on the road. I do. I love the Toffees. They are playing great. They are creating opportunities. Pickford is playing at a high level. And if maybe the fact that they lost in penalties yesterday to Fulham will matter, I don't know. I don't know what I didn't get a chance to see any of that match. I just know it went to penalties. But I like Everton on the road. And as much as I love watching Tottenham, I think they're just going to give Everton too many opportunities.
I like that pick a lot. I'm with you right there. I also have Everton on the road, but I wouldn't be surprised in a draw here. I think that Everton, Tottenham will create. They'll get their chances, but you're absolutely right. Everton are playing some awesome football right now. I think they have used that 10-point deduction as the appropriate motivation. And gosh, if you're an Everton fan, you don't want to be thinking about what if, because you were right there in the European hunt. If not,
they're
but
top half of the table.
I think they're 26 points. They're in 10th, 3 points out of a Europa spot, and I think that is giving them some drive, and it'll be interesting to see. Tottenham still. They looked great against Newcastle, but I think a lot of that, as we talked about last week, was more Newcastle.
100%.
They got lucky, honestly, against Forest. Matt Turner gifted them a second goal, and Forest had one ruled out on a marginal offside call, and it just they still give up too much in the back. And so, I like Everton on the road. Everton, interestingly enough, have more points on the road than at home.
Better on the road,
which is So go figure. So
Everton and Bournemouth have been better on the road, right?
Exactly.
Silly, just silly. What's the? I know the last game we're going to pick is our game.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Wolves Chelsea? What are we doing?
Well,
I think that's a sneaky good match, by the way.
That's a sneaky good matchup, but I think I was going to go with West Ham versus Manchester United.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
United versus United, sort of.
United versus United in London against West Ham. I think that this is going to be a tricky fixture for United. I think they poured a lot out of the tank against Liverpool just to hold on for that draw. And West Ham are finding a little bit of form. And so I think West Ham pulled this one out just because I like Jared Bowen and I like Kudus and Paqueta. The way they've been kind of gelling up front gives me, maybe United spent $100 million on the wrong Ajax winger. But we'll see. But I like West Ham to win this one, but I think it's going to be a good game.
I do too. I like a draw here. But of course, I have been flat out wrong almost every match for like 3 weeks. We haven't even talked about the standings.
Oof. I've cratered.
Dude, 3 weeks ago, I was at like plus 29. You were at like plus 23. Jack was at minus, I don't know, like 8. I'm at 885. You're at 665. I'm sorry, Jack's at 665. You're at 330. What the hell?
Yeah. Who knows? But I've picked the most winners, which goes to show you the double match points are where it all matters.
You are 11 matches over 500. I am 3 under. That's how stupid this is. Gambling, don't do it, people.
Don't do it.
I liked enough about the United second half and the way they defended. And I don't trust David Moyes to attack enough to put pressure on him.
Well, and Bruno will be back.
You get Bruno back. It's the weird thing, real quick, before we get to Liverpool Arsenal. I feel like Liverpool would have had a better chance had Bruno played. Because there's no way Liverpool United would have played the way they played if Bruno was available. I think they go for it a little bit more and they open up just a little bit more. Liverpool would have had to play differently too. But I think Liverpool would have won had United been more complete. With that said, I'm terrified, absolutely terrified of Saturday. I don't care that it's at Anfield. I am terrified of it as much because I just don't think Liverpool's played well in about a month, and it's tough to just turn it on. But if they don't, I think this could get, I don't know, messy is not the right word, but I think it could be very much a convincing Arsenal win. But I can't pick that. I can't, in good conscience, pick that. So I'm going to go 1-1. That's my pick. My official pick is 1-1. Same pick I had against City, but at least that one was at the Etihad.
So I am terrified of this game, and
you've watched them, right? You've watched Liverpool, right? Why would you be terrified of Liverpool right now? I have
watched Liverpool, but it is at Anfield, and you can say like that doesn't matter. They have not lost at Anfield this season.
Mm-hmm.
They
just lost 0-0 at Anfield.
Sure. They will be continuing to expand attendance. I think this will now be the biggest crowd since 1949.
How'd that go for
in Anfield? I think that while Liverpool United is a fixture, I'm sorry, that was the temperature and atmosphere of that stadium did not feel like Anfield. It did early. It did early, and then it just died.
The first half sucked the life out of it. It's
and
terrible.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think that because Arsenal are a better side and because Arsenal are going to want to play, it will keep the Anfield crowd into it. One thing that Liverpool does really, really well is when the opponent is pressuring your side, they rise up and they create some pressure through their kind of presence. And so that I think is what's going to make this a very compelling fixture. Night game in Anfield. Arsenal have to show, and this is kind of one of those, like, you got to show it, but they've got to show they can win up north. They haven't in their last 2 years. They haven't had many, but they haven't won at Newcastle. They lost there. They haven't won at Anfield. They haven't won at the Etihad. They haven't won at Old Trafford. So those three fixtures.
Everybody wins at Old Trafford except United now,
right? But they've got to show that they can break that hoodoo. It's going to be tough. I think that as a squad, Arsenal are better than Liverpool right now. They're a little bit fitter, but Liverpool offers so much threat and attack. They put so much pressure on you with that crowd and with Salah and Nunez and Diaz and Gakpo. Like, all of them can score. All of them have the ability. Trent stepping into midfield is going to be a tough ask for Havertz to mark. But at the end of the day, I think there's enough in the tank for Arsenal to get it done. But I, too, am taking a draw.
Oh, man, that's no fun. No fun that we're both taking draws here?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what because the hottest player in the league, Jack Gold. Gosh, it's annoying. And he's obnoxious about it. He is now 7. He's 88 and 81. He has gone from literally, I think he was negative 11 something, and he's at plus 665. When we were going the other way, he's been going up. He has Liverpool. He also picked Liverpool to win the league, but I think he's nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only 1 point off, so we'll see. I think it'll be a great match. I think it's gonna be a ton of fun.
Boy, I wish Andy Robertson were healthy. I'll just say that. And Jota, not having Jota is also important.
Yeah, McAllister, Jota out.
Too many.
Gravenberch may be back.
No, he'll play. I think Gravenberch will play Saturday. I don't think he'll play today. I don't even want to see what the lineup is today.
And so, Salah, I think, there'll be some tough matchups. We'll see. I think Virgil van Dijk and Alisson give you so much solidity in the back. But Tsimikas on Saka. Trent
How many
on
yellows?
Martinelli.
How many yellows in this match?
Honestly, I don't
Over
think
under
that many.
7.
Under.
Over under 7.
Under 7. Yeah. No
Okay.
fixture other than Tottenham Liverpool has scored more goals than Tottenham Arsenal or Arsenal Liverpool
Really?
in the history
Okay,
of the Premier League. So
Then
there'll be goals.
1-1 doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
All right.
So only one goal off. I think it's like 148 goals in this fixture between Arsenal and Liverpool, and 149 between Liverpool and Tottenham.
I hope we're both wrong about this match, and you can take whatever it is you want out of that.
Yep.
I hope we're both wrong. I would be
Amen.
much more excited with a result, with a win for somebody, because I think Arsenal and Liverpool can unite here. We all want City to not win the league.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Next time we'll have good Arsenal highlights.
We'll see. and Liverpool highlights. All right.
Have
a good one.
We want good ones. So you too, man.
All right.